What's up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. Um, Before we get started anything, we must remember what this day means. 23 years ago, we were attacked, and terrorists flew planes into the Twin Towers in New York City, into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and they were headed on their way to the White House. If it wasn't for some of the most bravest, most courageous people this country's ever seen, who fought with the terrorists, and took that flight to 93. I apologize, I shouldn't know this. But took that plane down in a Pennsylvania field, not only saving the White House and the people in the White House, but then unfortunately taking their own lives. This is a day that we must never forget. It is a day that we must, and this kind of funny to say this is a day after the debate where we are so divided. This has to be the one thing that we stand together on. Without question. To anyone listening to this podcast, and you have lost somebody in those attacks, whether it was on that plane headed to the White House, on any plane, on the Pentagon, on the planes that hit the Twin Towers, if you were had anybody who was a first responder who was in the Twin Towers, I can just send my thoughts out to you. Today's a little tab. I'm sure they are probably, or they probably have, as they have done years prior, read the names off of the people who lost their lives that day. This is a tough day. Well, what I hope to do here is to just give you a little bit of levity, take your mind away from it just for a little bit today as we talk about college football and the NFL. Two things that, in spite of what today means, is the least amount of stuff to be talked about. So, we'll take a little break here, give a moment of silence to those that we lost 23 years ago today. And when we come back, we'll jump into, as we always do, college football. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and let's do what we came to do and talk about what went down this past week in pro and college football. As always, we start with college football, and as we look back to what happened last week, the Texas Longhorns went into the Big House and put a beating down on Michigan, 31-12. Arkansas and Oklahoma State had a very close overtime battle in which Oklahoma State won 39-31. Kansas State beat Tulane 34-27. Bowling Green put a scare into Penn State, but always Penn State, they came out on top. Penn State 34-27. Georgia fought the tomato can Tennessee Tech, and of course destroyed them 48-3. And what should have been a 48-3, score ended up being 16-14 in favor of Northern Illinois, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish losing at home. Riley Leonard is not the quarterback that's going to take Notre Dame to a national championship. He cannot pass. He can only run. We had that a couple years ago with Tyler Beckner, and we didn't learn from our mistakes. So Notre Dame now has a very slight chance of making the college football playoff. While actually, believe it or not, Northern Illinois could make could actually make the college football playoff if they win the MAC, and are ranked higher than the other group of 5 schools. So, and if they could make the game, they could make college football playoffs because they beat Notre Dame. And also they got paid for it as well. So isn't that something? $1.2 million to go into Notre Dame and win. As a Notre Dame fan, it is frustrating. It is frustrating year after year to go in with championship hopes and have them dashed. Not because you lost to USC, or you lost to Michigan, you lost to Texas, you lost to Alabama, you lost to Ohio State. Because you always lose to someone that you should destroy. Last year it was like Louisville and Duke they lost to. A couple years ago it was Marshall. Now it's Northern Illinois. What the flying fuck. Baylor lost to Utah 23-12. Boston College played Duquesne, shut them out 56-0. Jacksonville State was at Louisville. Louisville won 49-14. In a comeback victory, Iowa State regained the Cyhawk Trophy to beat Iowa 20-19. Middle Tennessee State get trounced by Ole Miss 52-3. Miami of Florida beat Florida A&M 56-9. They're looking good this year. The Hurricanes may be back. Missouri beat Buffalo 38-0. Alabama beat South Florida 42-16. Tennessee ransacked NC State 51-10. Ohio State took out Western Michigan University 56-0. Nebraska put a beating on Colorado 28-10. They were up 28-0 at the half. Colorado is just, they don't have it either. There's been a lot of talk about Deion and some of the off the field stuff, and Shedeur Sanders threw his offensive line under the bus, and there's a lot of things going on in Colorado, and people are talking about would Deion last? Is Deion a good coach? Is Deion a good this? And see, the thing is, I don't know how necessarily he's a good coach. How necessarily good Deion is as a good coach. But I would say this: I would think Deion Sanders could be a great recruiter because, when you come into a kid's house and it's Deion Sanders, even in this day and age, right? When it's been 20 some odd years since Deion played. Still, that's Deion Sanders. And you think you could convince? He did it with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was the number 1 pick, number 1 ranked recruit in the nation. He had offers to go to Alabama and all the other top flight schools, and he went to Jackson State. Why did he go to Jackson State? Because Prime was there. So, and that's how it should be all the time. You can get the number 1 draft picks and go to, and have them go to where Deion is. So I don't know. It's a tough sledding for Colorado again this year, I believe, and uh, maybe this year, at least this year, they'll make it to a bowl game. Who knows? LSU took out Nichols, 44-21. Oklahoma had a tough battle with Houston, but they won 16-12. Clemson beat Appalachian State 66-20. Oregon State, for the second week in a row at home, taking on what should be lesser opponent, but had a tough time getting the victory. 37-34 over Boise State. What's going on with the Oregon Ducks? What's going on with Dylan Gabriel there? Something to look out for. Arizona beat Northern Arizona 20-10, and the Southern California Trojans beat Utah State 48-0. I'm thinking that people are putting the dagger in Lincoln Riley. Not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso would say. As we look ahead to week 3, we got some interesting matchups. The 20th ranked Arizona Wildcats are taking on the Kansas State Wildcats. Wildcat on Wildcat violence happening on this Friday. Oklahoma State and Tulsa start the Saturday action. We got Arkansas State at Michigan. They have a team to get them back on the wing ways. Alabama goes to Wisconsin, which should be a big fight. I'm not sure what Wisconsin was thinking, but I like this. It's good to see Alabama go on the road. Because usually Alabama would play someone like Wisconsin and have it be either be at home or either be in a neutral site. Go on the road and prove who you are. You're effing Alabama. So I like that. It's kind of funny. I said effing Alabama, and other than I just said fuck. So I don't know. LSU going to South Carolina. Boston College taking on Missouri. That's pretty good. Ball State's at Miami, Florida. Because of the dissolution of the Pac-12, excuse me, and Oregon going to the Big Ten, I guess unfortunately Oregon and Oregon State now have to play early in the season instead of late in the season, and I don't like that. I like rivalry weekend to be rivalry weekend, and even though Oregon and Washington have a rivalry, and I guess that's what they're going to do now since they're the Big Ten, they're going to play each other the last week of the season. It always felt good to see Oregon and Oregon State play in the last game of the season, and that's one of the things that I hate about the new landscape of college football that we are living in. I am hoping that at some point we can get back to a little bit of normalcy and put back together the Pac-12 and things like that, and not having Stanford and California in the ACC and Oregon and Washington, UCLA and USC in the Big Ten. That's I hope that, or even if not, just have it so that there are 10 teams, or create like a monster conference where there are like 10 teams in one division, there are 10 teams that's on the West Coast, 10 teams in another division that's like on the East Coast, and and then just have them play like the 9 games, the original games, and then they play the team from the other coast in in the championship game, and that championship game could vary from one year. It could be on the West Coast in Las Vegas, or it could be one thing on the East Coast in MetLife Stadium. So, but neither here nor there. Oklahoma is taking on Tulane. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish need to get back on track as they are taking on Purdue, renewing the rivalry of the some type of shillelagh something. The USC has the Jewel shillelagh. I don't know. Is it the shillelagh trophy? Because on the video game they said the shillelagh trophy is Northwestern versus Notre Dame. So So I don't know, but Notre Dame and Purdue are renewing their rivalry. Utah and Utah State, again, a game that would be normally at the end of the season, but because everybody's moved around, they played early in the year. Ole Miss versus Wake Forest. Uh, University of Texas at San Antonio, taking on their number 2 ranked Texas Longhorns. Northern Illinois at Nebraska should be another win for Matt Rhule and the crew. Georgia's at Kentucky, and Kent State's at Tennessee. So week 3, really the game you probably should be looking out for is Boston College at Missouri. Boston College ranked 24th. Missouri ranked 6th. Could be one of those major big time games coming on at the in early in the day. So that will be it for college football. We're going to come back and take a look at the National Football League. Alright, so now let's check out what went down this past week in the National Football League. We start with opening night Thursday. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Ravens came down to a toe. If Isaiah likely had a smaller foot, the Baltimore Ravens may have won the game, but it wasn't like that. The Chiefs showed their resolve, showed why they're the defending world champions, beat the Ravens 27-20. On Friday night, we had our first Friday football game, and we had the first game in Brazil. The Eagles beat the Packers 34-29. Two things coming from the game. One, Saquon Barkley looked great for the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody's wondering why now the Giants let him go. And the Packers quarterback Jordan Love in the end of the game came down with an injury. It looks to be a sprained MCL. They say 3 to 6 weeks. They did not put Jordan Love on the injured list because he would at least have to miss 4 games. So and then they're gonna go apparently with Malik Willis, the guy who they traded for at the very beginning of the at the very end, of the training camp, and so we'll have to see what they do. I'm guessing they're gonna rely heavy on Josh Jacobs, because I don't know, Malik Willis hasn't looked good in his time starting in the National Football League, so that's why. The Titans drafted and subsequently went with Will Levis, because Malik Willis looked like he had no idea what he was doing out there. So we'll see what the Packers go from there. The Panthers, Bryce Young continues to look terrible, and I know Dan Orlovsky said that he doesn't want to judge Bryce Young this year because of what they kind of put him through last year, what he's going to go through this year, but something you got to just look for yourself, and he's missing wide open receivers. He's throwing the ball to the other team, and he just may not have it. I mean, unfortunately, and I'm someone that's like, yes, give him like 2, give him 2.5 years to prove what they have, to prove you bad, but I don't know. Yeah, you can't go into New Orleans and get pounded 47-10. So, and that's what the Carolina Panthers did, and with a new head coach, looked awful. What else looked awful? The New York Giants 100 commemorative uniforms. What the hell was that? Everybody says Montreal Canadiens, and I can't lie, that's what it looked like to me. But where the hell are those jerseys from? My heavens. And they looked ugly, they played ugly. And then the Vikings came in there and destroyed them 28-6. Daniel Jones, another pick 6. He has now, since he has signed that $40 million contract, he has thrown 2 touchdown passes, and he has thrown 3 pick 6s. Not good. Sam Darnold had a very good day. Vikings might be a surprise. Who never knows. Um, the Bengals surprisingly lost to the New England Patriots 16-10. Jerome Mill had his team ready, flying around. Um, this seems to happen to the Bengals all the time, so maybe we shouldn't be surprised. They always seem to early in the season start off like, just looking terrible. But then they usually gain it up, during the middle and the end of the season, you know. Excuse me. Unless, Joe Burrow gets hurt again. So, we'll see. But, a surprise victory for the Patriots, but maybe not, shouldn't be a surprise loss for the Bengals. Steelers and Falcons. Steelers played Justin Fields. He had led the team to 6 field goal drives. Beat the Falcons 18-10. A lot of talk about, if Steelers win again, do you keep Justin in? Listen, you're not going to win games just by continuing to kick field goals. You have 6 scoring drives. I would like to think that at least half of those should be touchdowns. He scored 30 points. But that's Justin Fields. He's not, he's not going to be that guy. He had 14 rushes. 14 rushes. I mean, again, he's Lamar Jackson. Like, why are you running? He runs better than he throws. Riley Leonard, I was talking about my college, runs better than he throws. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back who can throw. Again, Mike Tomlin would be stupid to continue with Justin Fields. He would be stupid to do so. And I don't think Mike Tomlin is a stupid man. I really don't. The Texans had a game with the Colts. Now, Anthony Richardson, he got hurt last year, so he's still young and still learning. Apparently, he had only completed 9 passes, but he completed 9 passes for over 200 yards. 2 deep throws that were just amazing. Man, he had an arm of like a rocket launcher, so that's amazing. But listen, the Texans, they do what they do. C.J. Stroud was tremendous. Solid as he's been since he seemingly came to the league last year. And Joe Mixon, wow. I mean, they gave him the ball 30 times or so, and he ran, and he had his 100 yards and get a touchdown and everything like that. Joe Mixon, you're adding now a running game to that passing game. What are you going to stop? It's amazing. It's going to be very hard for teams to beat the Texans, including my team next week. Buffalo Bills beat the Cardinals 34-28. We had the first kickoff return for a touchdown with this new dynamic kickoff coming out on the thing. So that was, that's a good thing. At some point we should talk about the kickoff, because they need to do 2 things, I think, to make the kickoff, make the kickoffs happen. Excuse me. Apologize for yawning. I just can't seem to get any type of good sleep, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I was talking about the Bills. Josh Allen doing what he does best. Yes, he had a fumble that he lost, but he had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. He did hurt his hand, but he's going to be playing tomorrow night, and he does what he does, and he puts the Bills on his back. So 34-28, Bills over the Cardinals. The Bears, my Bears, 24-17. Caleb Williams, the first #1 overall draft pick to win the first game of the season since David Carr did it in 2002. It has been 0-14-1 until Sunday when Caleb Williams won. And I said 0-14-1. There was a tie. Did you guys get to know who that tie was? Or do you know? I'll give you a couple minutes, give you seconds to think about it. You got it now? It was Baker Mayfield. The Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers tied in Baker's first game of the season. That's an incredible stat right there. Another incredible stat: the Chicago Bears. There are 3 games in the National Football League in which the the team was losing by more than 10 points at halftime. Came out, had under 100 yards of total offense, or 150, something like that, and won the game. And the Bears have 2 of those wins, 2 of those 3 wins. In 2006 against the Minnesota Vikings, and this year home opener against the Titans. Will Levis, I think Will Levis could be good. I really do think Will Levis is going to be good. There's a lot of talk about Will Levis sucks and he's not going to be the guy and everything like that. And they wasn't giving the Titans the respect that they deserved. And for the first half, they beat the respect out of the Bears and the fan base. That's for damn sure. But he did make some mistakes. He didn't protect the ball, and as he should. And Bears defensive special teams capitalized on it and scored touchdowns without scoring on offense, and they won 24-17. So a win's a win. The Dolphins beat the Jaguars 20-17. Tumultuous day for Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins. He was detained by police for speeding, like that, and he was then handcuffed and thrown to the ground. We had a lot of things. His teammates, Calais Campbell and General Smith, tried to stop the situation. They were detained as well. The body cam footage came out the other day, and while the cops did seem to use excessive force, Tyreek Hill was on his dumb bullshit. Immediately, when the cop knocked, he had an attitude. Don't knock on my window like that. Don't bang on my window like that. That's not how you do it. You give the police the respect. Hey, officer, how you doing? I was getting ready to go to the Miami Dolphins. I'm not trying to, get out of anything. I'm Tyreek Hill. You may not know that. That's fine. But I play for the Dolphins. I was trying to get to the game. Is there anything wrong? I was speeding. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me give you my driver's registration. Here we are. Yes. If I need a ticket, that's totally fine. I understand, our officer. Things like that. But it's just, he immediately goes into, well, why are you banging on my window? Why are you banging on my window? And the cops, they do what cops do. They use their power that they have to show you who's boss. And they show Tyreek who's boss. Now again, the excessive force of maybe throwing Tyreek Hill to the ground and having him on the ground, yeah, that probably was not needed. In fact, it was not needed. Absolutely. You could have made your point by getting him out of the car, handcuffing him, and then saying, and saying, next time, you need to be more respectful, you need to be more, cognizant, of cops. Give him his citation and put him on his way. That didn't happen. And it was all big niggerero. For nothing. 2 wrongs don't make it right. The cops were wrong, but Tyreek Hill was wrong. They both were wrong in this situation. As for what do I think should happen, listen, it doesn't matter. If Tyreek Hill wants to sue, let him sue, see if he gets some money on him. I don't know if they need to be fired. Maybe they do need to be reprimanded. The cops, retrained, maybe. But Tyreek Hill he needs to have some segregation, some stuff too, and maybe that, and maybe the thing that Tyreek Hill needs to have is to not have those cops, be suspended or fired. To let you know that you were in the wrong too, buddy. So As for the game, Dolphins came from behind, won 20 to 17. Beat the Jaguars in the Battle of Florida. Broncos and the Seahawks. Bo Nix took some lumps, turned the ball over, but he almost seemingly played one of the better games of the rookie quarterbacks this week. But they lost to the Seahawks 26-20. Chargers beat the Raiders 22-10. Jim Harbaugh's first game back in the NFL as a coach of the Chargers was successful. The Browns just looked terrible against the Cowboys. Seems almost seemingly right, but I don't know if it was before or after the Tyreek Hill situation was started to go around. There was news of Dak Prescott signing a 4-year, $240 million contract, making him the first player to have the $60 million per year. Now I will say this: the salaries are out of whack. The people should be making half of what they do make. And I don't know how the owners let the salaries get out of whack so bad. I mean, maybe I do know. Maybe because you can't, you can't let if you have a quarterback, you can't let him go. Apparently, so. But this Dak Prescott's I had Prescott as one of my top 10 quarterbacks in the league, but he doesn't deserve $60 million a year. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks. Josh Allen the same. They don't deserve their contracts, the $50+ million they're getting. They deserve half of that. So, but defense of the Cowboys were on point. They flustered Deshaun Watson, who has not been the same. I've been saying this on Twitter and on other things when talking about Deshaun Watson. It seemed like he had the magic rubbed out of him. Going to all those massage parlors, all of that talent was just rubbed right out of him. So that's very interesting. We'll see what the Browns do. A lot of calls for Jameis Winston to pretty much get an opportunity. So maybe we might see that this year, depending on how Deshaun Watson continues on. The Buccaneers beat the Commanders 37-20. Baker Mayfield has been very good down there in Tampa Bay. I think he's found a home. Talk about a guy who signed $30 million a year contract. But he's been playing very good, and yeah, like I said, I think he found a home down in Tampa Bay. There were Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and those folks. So very good game. Jaden Daniels, listen, he ran for a touchdown. He didn't throw for a lot, but especially in that air raid offense. But it is what it is, and he's gonna go through his growing pains just like Caleb Williams, just like Bo Nix. So we will have to wait and see. The Lions beat the Rams in overtime 26-20. They're starting their year all correct. The Lions I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. So we'll see if they can continue on, and especially now with the Packers injury with Jordan Love, maybe they can even get out to a very big lead in the division and wrap the division up early. And on Monday Night Football, the 49ers, without Christian McCaffrey, beat the Jets 32-19. They had Trent Williams there who didn't do anything. They had Brendan Ayuk there who didn't do anything in preseason. But at one point, Trent Williams had to get an IV. But they had Brock Purdy there. They had all the other guys there. And they had the guy I never heard of, Jordan Mason, there. And he ran his butt off as well. So they were talking about in the broadcast what they were wanting to do. He wanted to run 40 times. It's like I guess need to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field or whatever, but his defense took pretty good care of Aaron Rodgers themselves. So only got 19 points, and 7 of those, I think 6 or 7 of those were actually done by the backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor. So the 49ers and Jets. 49ers looking to continue their dominance in the NFC West. As we look ahead to week 2, the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins are playing tomorrow night. First Amazon game of the season. Uh, Josh Allen diving into the end zone hurt his left hand. He seems to be okay. He will be playing. And Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and all those guys are going to be down there in Miami. It should be. It's good thing it's nighttime. It's probably not going to be as hot as it would be in the daytime. So, but still, they should still get up a lot of electrolytes and things like that. Get ready. It's going to be a tough one, but I think the Bills can do it. As we move ahead to Sunday's action, the 49ers are in Minnesota to take on the Vikings. That should be a pretty good matchup. That defense can. Last time they played last year, the defense really put a hurting on Brock Purdy, and kind of made Brock Purdy look like a normal quarterback, a guy who was drafted in the 7th round instead of the MVP candidate that Brock Purdy has looked ever since he took over. In a couple years ago. We have the Seahawks and the Patriots. We'll see if both teams can continue their winning ways. We've got the Giants at the Commanders. Battle of the older one teams. Can the Giants turn around? Can they get back on track? Will the Washington Commanders do what they need to do with Jane Daniels? That should be an interesting matchup. The Chargers are at the Panthers. Listen, the Panthers need to take advantage here. And of home field advantage, and try to get a win on the board. While the Chargers need to go in there, continue doing what they've done, and get win number 2. Because in that division with the Kansas City Chiefs, they gotta try to stay as close as they can. The Saints are at the Cowboys. Battle of 1-1 seasons. Saints had a tremendous offensive output, and the Cowboys, they did what they needed to do to win. So this is going to be a very interesting thing. The Colts at the Packers. We talked about Anthony Richardson needing to second-year player, needed to continue to learn on the job. And then Packers without Jordan Love, they don't look to be like they're going to sign or trade anybody. They're going to go with Malik Willis and see. We'll get an opportunity to see how this does actually work out for the Green Bay Packers. The Browns at the Jaguars. Both teams trying to rebound from their devastating losses. Jaguars with a 10-point lead, losing to the Dolphins, and then the Browns, of course, is getting demoralized by the Cowboys. So that should be an interesting one as well. Jets at the Titans. Titans had a lead. It was lost. Are they going to come out and put a hurt on the Jets? And can the Jets offensively do what they need to do to put up points and get that and get their defense onto the field and hunt the quarterback, hunt the young buck with real levels. Buccaneers at the Lions, another rematch from last year's playoffs. It was the Rams and the Lions, and the Buccaneers and the Lions. So it should be a pretty nice one. Lions had a really good game with them last year in the playoffs, and now they should have a really good game with them now in the playoffs, in the regular season. Excuse me. The Raiders at the Ravens. The Raiders need to try and stop the Ravens and from doing what they're doing. Keep Lamar Jackson in with that. Although Lamar Jackson did not practice Monday, we don't know if it's like injury related or if it's with something else. I guess we'll find out sometime later today if he practices again. And so yeah, but this should be a win for the Ravens, but we'll wait and see. The Rams at the Cardinals. I think Cardinals look to be very much improved. Kyler Murray, not Wilson. Kyler Murray doing some of the stuff he did in the past. I think he's like I believe now he is a full year back from the ACL surgery. So he should now be wondering like, what are we going to do here? So things like that. That's for the Rams. They just need to. They played very well. They just didn't have the opportunity to win the game against the Detroit Lions. So it's going to be a tough game for the Cardinals to win. But I think the Rams are going to put it on them. So very interesting season to see them without Aaron Donald. The Bengals are at the Chiefs. Listen, Bengals, you've had the Chiefs number in the regular season the last couple of seasons. You had the number one time in the playoffs. But again, you start slow. During these seasons, you start slow. So, this is going to be a thing for maybe home field advantage and everything like that. So the Chiefs are going to be ready. The Bengals better be ready as well. The Steelers are at the Broncos. Justin Fields may possibly start. Last year when he was in Chicago and he played the Broncos, he had a very very excellent game before up until the fourth quarter when he started turning the ball over and not making plays he needed to make that a star quarterback should play. And I think there's going to be the same thing here. I think he's not going to do what he needs to do to get the Steelers to win. I think the Steelers beat the Falcons because one, Kirk Cousins looked to be still not as healthy as he needs to be. A lot of people were talking about that Kirk Cousins is a play action pass guy, and they were focused on having him running out, do the pistol and the shotgun, no things under center. So they probably were out schemed, by the Steelers. Let's see what the Broncos do. Sunday Night Football, the Bears are at the Titans. My Bears, the Texans, excuse me. My Bears, can they go into Houston and get it done? I'm not sure. There's one reason why. There was a lot of people were saying that first one, it's a big one because you're probably going to go and lose to the Texans. You can't start the season 0-2. But 1-1, that's a pretty good thing. Nobody's choosing them to win this game. And Caleb Williams, he's learning. He's on the job. He's learning. We should not be surprised if we get another 10 for 27 game for 93 yards again. Because he's a rookie, and this is what I'm telling people about Caleb Williams. This is what's going to happen with rookies. They're not going to be Aaron, not going to be Andrew Luck, not going to be C.J. Stroud, they're not going to be Justin Herbert. And you expect Caleb Williams to do that, I think, was wrong. Now we'll see how the Sunday Night Football game goes. Be good to see the Texas offense in action. And on Monday Night Football next week, the Falcons are at the Eagles. Yeah, this is if the Falcons do not do some of the things that they they should be doing with Kirk Cousins, this could end up being a very ugly game. This could get ugly very quickly. And the Eagles look to be at least better offensively. I didn't see them doing a lot of runs with Jalen Hurts or anything like that. I didn't see them. They kept their runs to what's his face and to Saquon Barkley as they should have. So I was a big thing with that. As I look, as it now looking at the stats from last Friday, yes, Jalen Hurts did run 13 times for 33 yards. That's way too many runs. That's way too many runs for Jalen Hurts. Whether these were designed runs or whether these were scrambles, still that's way too many times for Jalen Hurts. He should not be running the ball 13 times. Take 10 of those away. He should be running the ball 3 runs, and those 3 runs should be scramble runs. They shouldn't be design runs. It's way too much for Jalen Hurts, and so give those runs to Saquon Barkley. Give those runs to Kenneth Gainwell, or if those some of those runs were scrambles, get those to try to have Jalen Hurts maybe make do something more like scramble to throw so that this automatically take off. So, but yeah, that should be an interesting game. Again, that game can get pretty ugly pretty quickly. And that's look ahead to week 2 in the National Football League. And then, so now let's go ahead and let's close out the show. Alright guys, there you have it. Episode 3 of this new season podcast in the books. So yeah, so have some fun watching this weekend. Have fun watching tomorrow night. It's gonna be a joy. Please, if you are watching on YouTube, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys thought about this week's action in pro and college football or anything else. Also, if you listen to this on Spotify, they now have comments, so you can post your comments down there as well. Please make sure, again, if you're back on YouTube, to like and subscribe and share. Even if you just, apparently, if you just copy the link, even that helps with engagement. So just do that as well. If you've liked what you've heard on this podcast, please make sure to go to patreon.com/AJTRIP to become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you'll be able to determine what I talk about on my other podcast, the AJTRIP Show, what video games I play. I have to have the video games on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20, and what videos I can do on on my YouTube channel. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. It is such a joy to be back doing this, doing football season. But we leave this podcast today once again with a moment of silence for those that we lost 23 years ago. The first responders, the members of our family that were in those Twin Towers, on those planes. And I said this earlier, I should have said this earlier and I didn't, I apologize for not saying. But subsequently after, the men and women that we lost during the war to find the people and compromise the people who did this to us. We can't forget those people either. So again, united we stand, never forget.